Hey Gemini, happy solar return. I didn't forget about you. We were just completing the Pluto retrograde reads, and now we are starting a new cycle with reads here at BroadCoven, where we always put the sign that is having their solar return first. So I'm here to drop in around your Native American birth totem astrology, and we're going to be reading for deer and seeing what's coming in for you over this next trip around the sun. And I just wish you many blessings as you prepare to enter this next year of your life. This is specifically for those who are born under the sun sign of Gemini, though everybody's welcome to drop in for it and learn about the Native American birth totems. I'm really happy to share this with all of you. And I'm going to be introducing a new medicine wheel read in your read. So you're kicking off a new reading cycle here too. And I think that's kind of a sign that there's a lot of new energies coming in for you. There's a lot that will be changing for you this year. I feel a lot of adaptability coming in. And so we're going to go ahead and bring in your medicines and what can strengthen you as you ride these waves of change, because I do feel that you are in a time of transition. This is the energy that's coming in. You are associated with the direction of east on the medicine wheel, and your element remains to be air, just like it is in Western astrology. You do have a power mineral, and that's agate, and you might find a lot of grounding coming in with that stone. So I do recommend that you get yourself a piece of agate that you can just carry on your person. Maybe you can use it as a worry stone. Deer birth totems are known to deal with anxiety, and that has a lot to do with the fact that they're highly sensitive beings. They're very clairsentient. They're able to pick up the energy in their environment. They're very attuned to that. They're used to sort of assessing the scene around them and treading very softly. Okay, so there's a subtlety to you, but there's also this quality to your nature that's always on high alert, sort of assessing the dangers in your environment, what you need to be aware of. And so sometimes that can lead you to a place where you become a little bit overactivated. So agate can be very, very grounding for you. You also have this beautiful plant ally, which is lily of the valley. And I got a real hit for you that it might be beneficial for you to actually take in lily of the valley flower essence. You can easily find flower essences online to purchase, or you can go to any kind of holistic health store and you can get your hands on flower essence. I did research what lily of the valley flower essence is for, since it was very interesting to me. That didn't come in for all of the birth totems that I've covered so far as really taking in the essence, but I feel like it'll be especially empowering for you as you move through this next trip around the sun. And so what I learned is that it really helps your individual voice to be heard and received within group dynamics, and also for your contribution that you're bringing forward to be really held as a sacred offering, just like anybody else's contribution is considered in any kind of group dynamic. So it really supports sort of bringing in that collective energy, and for your contribution within that collective energy to be acknowledged. So I feel like there might be something about this coming up for you. Maybe you feel like what you contribute isn't really being acknowledged, isn't being recognized, and this might help you to not only be able to really own your voice and bring that forward as you move through this next trip around the sun, but for others to really be able to receive the message that you have to share. Another benefit of lily of the valley flower essence is that it also helps you access your higher levels of spiritual consciousness and be able to really root it within your being, bring it down to earth. So maybe you can take some of your loftier visions, some of those more expansive ideas, and you can share them in a way that people can really hear them, they can really receive them, It also helps to bring about a sense of spiritual protection and integration for you. So I think that's very beautiful. And I love that it makes you open to receive as well. So it can help sort of dissolve some of the defenses. Deer do tend to be a little self-protective. They're, like I said, they're always kind of assessing their environment, so they know what they, need to be aware of as far as protecting themselves. So this can sometimes cause you to have your guard up a little bit, sort of brace yourself for something you need to defend yourself from. And maybe this is what kind of interrupts the ability for the message to get through at times. And so I feel like Lily of the Valley flower essence can help dissolve this. It also helps you be very strong and rooted in expressing your truth. And having this rootedness, this grounding is so important for you, especially just because of that tendency to sort of go more into that anxiety space. And in fact, grounding is one of your major life lessons, to not be in this state of worry, not call your fears to you, but actually really feel how supported you are, how much you have a valuable contribution to make in your earth walk, and how much you do have to share that should be received because it's of great value. And so you could also really benefit from studying elk medicine a bit, because elk medicine is all about developing strength, developing resilience, and having a healthy sense of pride. Elk medicine is about tooting your own horn a little bit, understanding that you have something worthwhile to share with the collective too. Okay, so I really like this. And in general, Dear Birth Totem is very alert, very curious, very sharp. You have a very sharp intellect. And you already have that innate sensitivity that makes you very aware of your environment. It also can make you very aware of other people's motivations. I mean, you do pick up the energy in a room. You do pick up the subtext of conversations. And, this can cause you to sort of be on guard a lot, because if you're picking up, what others try to hide, but for you, it's very surface level just because you're so observant and you are so aware of your environment, then it can have you kind of moving through life in a sort of guarded way. So I feel like the more grounded you can be, the better off you're going to be in terms of just really owning the power of your medicine, which is the power of your gentle spirit. You have a very loving nature. You're a natural peacemaker. And this is an incredible gift that you have to share with the world. But you also know that in this world, sometimes those who are loving, those who are kind, those who are gentle get walked on. And maybe you've had a lot of these experiences. So you really need to feel the strength, that comes from that gentleness that you have. You haven't lost the wonder of a child, which is a beautiful gift to have. As far as challenges with your birth totem, you do have a hard time staying in one place. You struggle with follow through a little bit, and that's just because you're so alert. You need constant stimulation. You like to be on the go all the time. And so you can start down one track, or, work on one project or have one interest for a while. And then it can be a bit of distractive energy because something else will capture your attention. So you do really get swayed by the energy in your environment and the energy you surround yourself with. So I feel like this is coming in very strongly for you in this next trip around the sun, to be more mindful of your environment. And is your environment really supporting you in staying within your gifts? In other words, is it allowing you to be in that space of gentleness, receptivity? Is it allowing you to feel safe in letting your guard down so that you can express your truth, so you can share your gifts with others? Or do you always feel like you have to kind of have your defenses up? There might be something you need to shift energetically in your environment as you move through this year. Now, you are very astute. You're very sharp, okay? And sometimes people do take kindness for weakness, but the reality is, because of your acumen and how aware you are of your environment and of the subtext, you're often like a few steps ahead of everybody else. So it's not easy to pull one over on a deer, okay? And air signs in general tend to be that way. I also feel that you have an advantage just in the sense that when you do encounter troubles, when you do encounter difficulties, you tend to move through them very quickly. But the only thing that's kind of a challenge for deer types is that it really impacts you on a deep level because you are so sensitive. So I really do recommend, get in touch with that elk medicine. I think also getting in touch with tree medicine, really grounding yourself out can be very beneficial for you. And because of your gentle spirit and your loving heart, when you love completely, you love passionately, you're all in. So that's a beautiful quality that you have. And you're always the one who tries to find the way to sort of put a salve on wounds, to um, find the way to peace in disruption. And you do work very hard to kind of keep things harmonious. But there is this piece here about being mindful that you don't take on more than your fair share, and that you do allow yourself to have appropriate boundaries, so you're not already always put in that position of sort of taking on that role where you have to solve other people's conflicts. And this might be something that's come in for you a bit, recently, I feel, where you feel like you have to kind of like calm everybody else down, solve everybody else's problems. And maybe you've taken that on. You might take that on as a way to feel like you have your place of belonging. You do fight for the underdog because you know what it means to be sensitive. You know what it means to be a person who has that kind of vulnerability, because you do tend to be more open-hearted. But there is this piece that's coming in very strongly for you about, connect with that elk medicine, because I do feel like it's time for you really to cultivate your strength, your endurance, and that you should feel, confident in bringing forward your gifts, because you have something very valuable to contribute here. Okay. So let's check it out. I want to go ahead and drop into your energy. We're going to first look at what is sort of like your present state. Where are you at right now? And just get a general snapshot of you in this present moment as you enter in this next trip around the sun. So let's see where you're at. And we'll go from there, okay? And enter the medicine wheel. I love it. Look at you. You're very much in your energy. I love it. We have Sky Family, Sky Daughter, okay? So you are opening up to a more receptive space here, I see. I also feel like you're ready for some fun, and you do have some wishes. You might have made a very special wish for this next trip around the sun. You might have something that you really have your sights set on. I feel like it's some kind of creative vision that you have here. And I do feel like you're working in partnership with Spirit on this. Let me get some more details about this, okay? So I feel like there is a special wish that you're looking to bring into fruition during this next trip around the sun. It's a very special wish you have for your birthday this year. And I do feel like you're very much in your element. There's some seeds you're planting at this time, and the seeds that you're planting are going to have a very far-reaching effect, okay? And this might have something to do with something you do want to communicate, a message that you have to share, maybe a message you want to share over the airwaves, a message you want to share online. It's got something that has something to do with communication, which is your house. You are the third house in Western astrology, Gemini. Yes, okay, and again, look at this. We have 4 of Sky, and we have Dreamers. So this is definitely about really in your element. I feel like you're so in your element right now. I do feel like you got a vision. There's something that you really want to group, really want to ground in material reality here. There's something about bringing people together in relation to this too. I think your vision involves more than just you. There's something here that you have a vision for the collective that you want to bring in, or maybe there's a particular group of people that you're trying to bring together. This could be a vision you have for your family. This could be a vision you have for a band. This could be a vision you have for some kind of group project. And there's something about really wanting to spread this message. It has far-reaching results, okay? It's a dream. It's a dream that you're hoping to really activate. I think you are working with a lot of creative energy here. And with this rainbow energy here too, there's something about it bringing a lot of people together. You're hoping to bring a lot of people together around this vision and for there to be harmony. And I do feel like it's something creative, okay? You're working with creative energy. It's definitely inspired. You're working with a lot of musing energy here, okay? So let's see what's coming in for you around air, all right? Just bottom of the deck here, yeah, you know, this is something you're fueling with your passion too. And again, we got poppy energy here. So this is a dream. This is something you've dreamed up and it's fueling your fire. You know, there's something that you're really ready to pour your time and energy in. It's got a creative project. And I do feel like it's a message you have to share. It might be through music, it might be through art. I feel like it brings people together, okay? And you're really ready to invest your energy in this, okay? Really beautiful, right? I do feel like if you nurture this, there will be growth. All right, let's see what air element is bringing in for you. What's the east bringing in for you, your direction? What's the new energy you're ready to call in this next trip around the sun, dear? What is this new energy you're ready to call in this next trip around the sun? What is the new energy dear is ready to call in this next trip around the sun, Spirit? Woo! Ooh, okay. You are definitely aligning with your north node here. So you know where you're heading. You definitely have a very solid wish for what you want to achieve this next year. Your direction's on point. I feel like there is something you're transforming here. You're activating a bit of your destiny. All right. You're definitely aligned with your North Star there. And you might have somebody who's partnering with you on this. Could be another air sign because we have Sky family here and we have Brother Sky. So there's definitely somebody you're working with here to bring this together. And we did bring in a band or music. And look at this, we have song. 3 of water. All right. So there's something about bringing people together to really root this vision. And I also feel like where there's been some kind of falling out or where you felt like you didn't really have like your people, you know what I'm saying? You haven't really found that place where you belonged or where there was harmony. You're bringing a group together here where you're coming together in a very harmonious way. And for those of you who are musicians, I do feel like there's something you're creating here musically. You might be involved in the music scene, okay? I also feel like this is bringing about harmony, you know, getting on the same page within a group dynamic, all right? So you're ready to pull in more harmony in your life. You're wanting more of a sense of togetherness. You're really wanting to connect with the people who are like your people, you know, who share the same vision you do. And I do feel like you're going to be making contact with some real allies as you move through this next trip around the sun. And what you bring together here, it's really beautiful. It looks like it has far-reaching results, you know? It's something you are grounding out in material reality. Your destiny is being activated this year. And the people that can support you in really stepping into that are going to show up on your path. And these people may come from different backgrounds than you know, and there's something about that, about the diversity, the different backgrounds, and exploring this new direction that really enhances whatever you're creating here. And I think you're ready for that. You're ready to experience something new, something different, something outside the box. And I feel like the perfect, you know, people to partner with you are coming in. These are people that are going to bring a certain level of peace and harmony into your life, or just resonance, you know, that you felt was missing. And there could even be some kind of healing that's happening within a family here too, where you're getting on the same page. Now you all share a common vision. And your family can even be like your chosen family. It doesn't have to be, you know, your blood family. This can be just people that you really care about, that maybe there's been some disruption, there's been some disharmony. I feel like whatever's going on here, you're getting on the same page. You're like singing from the same sheet, so to speak. There is something really coming in around music for you all. Okay, so for those of you who are musicians, or you're creative in that way, I think this is something that is going to really pull together, and you're going to find just the right blend of people to pull in on this project, and it's going to feel really good, right? Interesting. Okay, so let's see. We're going to look at the south. We're going to look at fire and the action that you need to take this year. What action are you being called to take this year, dear? Let's see what's coming in here from the south. That direction of transformation. I love how much your energy is just so in alignment elementally. You got fire, family. You got brother fire here, okay? So you could have a fire sign that is part of this, that is part of this activating force, all right? I feel like this is a huge transformational time for you. There's something here that is really going through a major transformation in your life. And it did come out in kind of a crossing position here, which I find interesting. So I do feel like there is some fire test of truth you have to go through here. You may be transforming a relationship with a fire sign. Interesting. On the bottom of the deck there, we got 4 of water, waterfall. So there's a little bit of tempering action going on here. Some of you are dealing with Sagittariuses, okay? There's something that is going to transform with effortlessness. It's almost like there's a need to release this feeling of having to control everything to make it work out. It's almost like there's maybe a giving over of the emotions where there was a lot of heat coming in a situation before. It's sort of like you're getting through the fire by accessing the emotions and not trying to control things so much or trying to push or force things too much, but instead just releasing. There could be something you're releasing here that actually leads you to your happiness with 10 of fire here, the sun energy. There could be a Leo in connection with this as well, where there was maybe a lot of heated emotions, where there was a lot of intensity, maybe a lot of I'm getting sort of like a headstrong sort of stance when you got that fire energy very forward and fire is kind of blocking the way. It's almost giving me this vision of like a firewall, like maybe somebody really had their defenses up. It looks like somebody you're dealing with specifically, but you're getting through this through accessing the emotions, like what is behind that fire. A lot of times when there's some kind of aggression or frustration, or there's real heated words, or there's arguments, or somebody's being very, forceful about, no, it's my way and only my way is the way it's done. There's something here about melting the resistance through just release and allowing the emotions to come forward more. Maybe somebody who is really coming off as very self-motivated, moving in their own self-interest, maybe being a little too hot-headed or arrogant. This is just kind of coming through. Maybe there's some melting of resistance there. There's some emotions that are pouring forward, and this is allowing there to be more of a flow where you felt like there was just blockage before because you kept coming up against a firewall. And I do see that there is some kind of ending that is taking place here. There is a transformation taking place here, and there is a letting go, all right? So I feel like there's this need to let go of a certain position where it might be just sort of for show. Like there might be a little too much ego involved in this situation. And for the sake of harmony, there's a need to kind of allow more of the emotions to come forward and also more of a release, not having to sort of like be so aggressive about obtaining a certain result, but allowing more sensitivity to come forward. I do feel like you're dealing with somebody. They could be a fire sign, okay? And just with that water to come in, it does have that vibe of sort of tempering something, balancing something out. Something's being alchemized here. I do feel the end result will bring a lot of happiness with the sun. I do feel it will be a big blessing, but there is a need here to sort of like find the middle way. You need to cool down the situation a little bit, earth the energy a little bit here, right? If you earth the energy, then there's going to be this new beginning. All right. So it's sort of like an old cycle is closing in a particular connection, I feel. It could be with a Leo. It could be with a Sagittarius. There could be Scorpio energy involved here too. I do feel like something is sort of being laid to rest in this situation, though. There is a letting go, and it actually leads to the action that needs to be taken to light the way forward, which is really good, right? And, with this, we got high Ace of Sky, which is excellent. So there's a certain freedom being attained here, right? This is Savior. So it might feel like a saving grace to finally get to the other side of this, right? And there's definitely like a release. There's a cleansing of the old energy with 10 of water here that allows things to grow. There's like a new growth that comes from this. So it gives me that image of when you have to clear land and you do so intentionally with a fire. Maybe a lot of this had to come forward first. There had to be a lot of fire forward. Maybe you felt like you had to take that stance because something you needed to express, a very significant truth that you needed to express, wasn't being heard, wasn't being received, wasn't being acknowledged. You might have had to use a little bit of force to get that to come through. This may have caused some disruption, but I do feel like beyond the fire, there is this sweet, like, giving over. And then from there, everything flows. It's like the emotions come forward. And when those emotions come forward, there's so much growth that comes as a result. And there's a freedom that comes forward here too. And there's peace. So I feel like you're healing a really important connection here. And the action you need to take is to like let go of what you're holding in emotionally. It feels like let your innate gentleness take the lead here, 29:29 on the clock, 11:11. I do feel like once you stop like holding in what you need to express here, and you allow that truth to come forward, you allow the emotional vulnerability, it leads to this beautiful like blossoming. It's like all the old energy that was blocking up this connection is cleansed away, and it allows something really beautiful to grow. Again, it's like those seeds, it's like so much is growing from the seeds you're planting right now. And nothing is more powerful than your truth and the way you're bringing it forward here, right? It does allow that sun to come peeking through. So I do feel like you've been through a storm, and where you feel like things have been very challenging or very heated, especially in terms of a particular relationship. You're getting to the other side of this. The sun is starting to peek through where you're wanting peace. You're finding peace in this situation. And I think you're also soaring to new heights, you know? It's your time to sort of like have your moment to rise and shine. I really do feel that. And I think somebody is also acknowledging your growth, you know, and they're looking at you with admiration. This person may feel like you're their saving grace, you know. You may have stuck by this person through some really challenging times, you know, when a lot of other people would have bailed out. And so I do feel like there's a connection that's being strengthened here. But it's because you're getting through the heat and the fire of the argument. It's got like big Shaka Khan, you know, through the fire vibes. You should check out that song. I feel like that's what this is. You know, you got pushed to the limit in a situation, and this situation has been extremely challenged, but you're finding your way through to the flow. And where you were dealing with a lot of sort of like combativeness in this situation, I feel like from here, it's just like effortless, because that's what waterfall medicine is all about. It's just about effortlessness. It just flows, it just works. So you're overcoming some major challenge in a relationship here. And you're also rediscovering like the fire. So if this is in terms of like a romantic relationship, or maybe things just sort of like felt like the fire was dampened for a bit, you know. It felt like there was something that just, you know, wasn't going to get resolved. I feel like there's a breakthrough in this connection. For some of you, you are freeing yourself from a connection, but you're doing so in such a way where there's transformation here. There's mutual respect. You're getting to the other side. You're free of this old connection, but it leads to a beautiful new beginning for you and fulfillment. That is for some of you, all right? But I feel for the vast majority of you, you're actually healing a relationship. And you're finding that sense of fulfillment. It comes after cleansing, though. There's like an emotional cleansing that comes through here. And once you get through that, there's like real happiness that comes in. I feel like Leo season is really when you're going to be celebrating something. You're getting to the other side of a challenge in a relationship, and it's going to feel really good to you. Okay. It's going to feel real good. Let's look at the water element. Let's look at the West, the water element. Let's see what you are ready to release, or what's blocking you in terms of letting go, right? So this can definitely help you move through this. It does look like you're resolving some major issue here. This could be within your community. This could be within your social circle. This could be within your family. This could be with a very dear loved one. It does look like there's multiple people affected by this, but I do feel like where there's been challenges, you're transforming this really beautiful energy through the fire. I mean, I think you're facing the fire test of truth. You know, that's always an important test of connections, you know, relationships, especially when we're looking at soulmates. Can the relationship withstand the truth, you know? I think something here does. That's what I really feel. And even in cases, I feel like it's more a minority of you that are actually like freeing yourself from a connection. But where you are freeing yourself from a connection, I feel like it's done so in such a way where maybe you thought there would never be an opportunity to do so peacefully, because there was a lot of activation when talks about this first came in. But whatever happens here, it really is for the best. There's a happiness that returns, and there's also a mutual admiration here. But in general, I feel like for most of you, this is like you are like saving a connection from the brink of disaster. That's what it feels like, I have to say. And it's interesting because this card for water ended up right here on my arm, okay? And I think that's significant. I'm not going to look at this yet because I have this piece on my arm here, okay? This is Chamundie, and she's a representation of one of the deity forms of Kali, and she's known as the trauma goddess. And so she helps you release trauma. She helps you release pain of the past and transmute it. And I got a lot of sentience here. So I feel that's factoring in very strongly to your particular story. There is something really deep and fundamental that you're transforming here. And it's bringing a profound healing and a very significant connection for you. For a lot of you, it's with a fire sign. It might be somebody that has strong fire and earth in their chart. They might have a really strong water placement too, I have to say. I think this person comes off with a lot of fire, and they really pride themselves in being very stable, you know. But behind that, they keep a lot of emotion contained. They're a tough nut to crack. That's what I just heard. They're a tough nut to crack. It takes a lot to get through. But see, you have that gift. You have that gift of gentleness and sensitivity. And I think that you suspect this here. It's really wanting you to stick here for a bit longer. So I feel like this is a significant part of this next trip around the sun for you, is a very key relationship that you're healing here. I think you know this about this individual. You know this about this individual. I don't know. Maybe it's actually even the ending of holding it all in too, Maybe this person's finally realizing that it's safe. It's safe to let down that firewall with you and really let you in. And this can even be somebody that you've been with for a long time, but maybe they have trauma, Maybe there's something within that needed to be transformed, and it took your patience and your gentleness and your sensitivity and your awareness and you knowing when to kind of tread lightly, because you could tell maybe you were bumping up against areas of great sensitivity just by the reactiveness you were getting in return. Through the fire. I'm going to put a link to that song in the comments, okay? I'll pin it there, as well as the lyrics, because I really feel like that's this story. And there's something about this, maybe even in healing this connection, there's some kind of restoration and bringing about harmony within a group of people. For some of you, it's within a band, okay, just because that came in. Maybe that's why the song came in, Three of Water, because I got that through the fire coming in so strongly. You may both really share a love of music. It's a big connecting point for you. You may have met each other, in the music scene or something. It might have been what really pulled you together. This might just be something that really unites you here, okay? But that piece is coming through pretty strongly. This is beautiful energy. This is beautiful energy, You went through something with this person. Now I really want to know here what you are ready to release or is blocking release. Earth, bird, look at this. Look. Again, it's the same symbolism that's here. Do you see? I think you're already there. This is like you speak a truth, and the truth sets you free, right? And it brings about this harmony and this peace. And from here, everything grows. It's beautiful. It's beautiful. I also feel like you're rising above this. You see, like there's this dog barking here, Maybe you were dealing with something like that, It was just sort of like you were barking at each other, You couldn't find the way through, or both were being really like stubborn about their position. But there's something here that is really being transformed, okay? So I don't think you're having any trouble with this. I feel like you're really in your element. And naturally, deers are peacemakers. All right. So I feel like you are really in your element. And I almost feel like you're really being recognized for the gifts of your totem. You're really being recognized for the power that you hold and that ability to be gentle, to be vulnerable, and also to speak your truth. And I also feel like somebody is finally really witnessing your truth. They're really hearing your truth. There's something that they had to go through to really finally be able to receive what you've been trying to say all along. I feel like it also brings you peace in your home too. Okay. Maybe home hasn't felt very peaceful for a while, but there's something that's being released here. I do feel like it has something to do with communication, the way that you communicate, with another. There's a softening that's happening here. You're getting more down to the heart of the matter. And it's bringing peace and restoration back to your home. So I don't think that there's any issue here. You look like you're right on track. I love seeing this. This is beautiful. Bird energy, you know, you've gotten a different perspective, okay? So this is something that, you're probably going to be working on throughout this solar return. So, you got a whole trip around the sun to go with this energy, 4141. So I know you're actively in this phase right now. And just speaking in terms of Western astrology, Gemini, you do have a very significant alignment coming in. You have a trine coming in. You're going to have Jupiter moving through your sign, and it's going to form a harmonious trine with Pluto retrograde. So maybe somebody was wanting more freedom in a connection, and maybe another felt very threatened by that. I could see that, okay? But there's something that you're finding the balance with here, and it feels really good, where both people have freedom and yet they still understand that there is stability here. There's peace here. And you might have needed to take flight, or you might need to take flight a little bit. You might need to, kind of go off on your own for a bit to get a different perspective. Because I do feel like there is this little piece of needing some space here. And I think maybe somebody might even be encouraging you to do this too. They might be encouraging you to like get some space for yourself, have a little more freedom for yourself as well. And this might be something that you're both experimenting with. And it could be that you had certain patterns in your connection before where you felt like a little enmeshed or a little entangled. And so this is kind of like, oh, as you were moving through it, it felt really challenging, right? And it activated both of you. But I feel like you're finding the balance with this. It's like the perfect balance of having this freedom within your connection. I think for a lot of you, this is coming up in a love relationship. Okay. You're finding the balance here. It's beautiful. I think you both feel this sense of freedom now. And there's a mutual admiration here too. Okay. So whatever you're resolving here, it looks really good. And I do want to bring it in because I am picking up there are a few of you that are choosing to, change your relationship. Maybe you used to be lovers. Now you're choosing to, maintain friendship in this connection. Or perhaps you have a child together. You have a sense of family with each other. You don't want to fall out from each other. It could be that two of you have different lifestyles, One person wants to live in the city, the other wants to live in the country, okay? It could be that too. But I feel like there's a different perspective that's gained here, and there's a real understanding that love, true love, is about freedom, and that doesn't have to be something to fear, right? This is really beautiful energy. It does feel like a bit of a saving grace for both of you. You're both free to be who you are in this connection. I think the vast majority of you, though, are really like, you're finally like finding the perfect balance with a lover. 44 55 on the clock. This is a big change and it brings you into alignment and it's a building block for your future. I do feel like when you're going through this during this solar return, there might be points where it feels disruptive. Most change is like that, but once you get to the other side of it, there's just so much expansion there. And I feel like what's really improving between you is your communication. And there's also a dream that's really taking flight here too. And taking flight might be a legitimate thing. Like somebody might need to take flight. They might need to travel. They might need to go to a different locale to really follow their dreams. And somebody's being supported in this, okay? Because there's a new level of depth, understanding, perspective in this connection. So I would say what you need to release is just any need to like feel like you have to have control in this situation. It's actually quite the opposite. It's like the more you let go, the more open you can be, the more you can get a different perspective and just sort of allow what needs to unfold, the more there's actually this harmony that takes root, the more a different perspective emerges. And it's actually what invites in this sense of freedom, liberation from whatever was making you feel stuck or in a holding pattern or embroiled in some conflict. And the end result is really beautiful here. All right, so let's see. Earth, what grounds you, dear? What grounds you in this next trip around the sun? What grounds you in this next trip around the sun? What grounds you in this next trip around the sun? What grounds you in this next trip around the sun? Oh, yeah, see? Look at this. We got fire family again. Fire daughter. So isn't this wild? We got fire, brother of fire, and we got fire daughter. So you find new grounding in this connection. This connection ends up being a source of grounding. It also is a source of inspiration. So yes, it's the transformation of this connection, as disruptive as it feels initially, that ends up grounding you. That is wild. So there's definitely a mirroring going on here for sure, okay? Look at that. Oh, and I love this coming in here. Earth family, Earth sun. And look, we got like some coyote medicine here. So this is a little bit of playing tricks on yourself, you know? It's like you're uprooting the things that have sabotaged this connection, the ways that you've kind of like been chasing your own tail in this connection. I feel it's in relation to trauma stuff. It's your own stuff. It's kind of like bubbled to the surface. And I feel like you guys are getting free of this. You're getting free of everything that has prevented you from really coming into this place of transformation in your connection. And it's the connection that actually grounds you. It's beautiful. It's because you all are finding the balance with each other. Yes, and then we got water family, sister water, okay? This is giving me big Aquarian vibes. So I do feel like you're rebelling against sort of the old way of doing things, the old way of relating. You're moving into greater expansion in terms of how you view your relationship. This particular connection, I mean, it really is coming in so strongly. And your Western astrology sign being Gemini, it's like this person's like your other half. That's what I feel. It's like this person's your mirror. You could be dealing with a Sagittarius. Sagittarius is your mirror. I have to say that, Gemini, all right? It could be that the Sagittarian house is also really activated for you in this next cycle, right? Because there's a lot of like sort of Sagittarian imagery here. So I feel like there's a lot of spiritual growth coming in for you during this next trip around the sun. I feel like you're going to be doing a lot of travel, okay? You're going to be going to different places, seeing different things. Maybe you're even going to be doing solo journeys, just sort of to be in your own energy and to have that sense of freedom. You know, you can have a certain level of trust, grounding, strength, resilience within a relationship that allows you to, have that without feeling that it's something that actually causes any kind of disruption in the relationship. It only enhances it. And it also keeps the fire burning, There might be something about that. Absence does make the heart fonder, all right? So I do feel like you're finding your grounding in this relationship. You ground each other. I feel that. And there's something that's really being transformed here. And maybe the way that your relationship is established, it goes outside the norm. It looks a little bit different. But whatever's happening here gives you a real sense of optimism about your future. And there's a lot of growth here. It's really good. All right. Okay, let me get you a final message from Great Spirit. What does Great Spirit want you to know? What spiritual guidance is coming in for deer in this next trip around the sun? Looks like a really transformational time in your relationships. There's a lot of healing happening here. There's a lot of stoking of passion, reigniting the fire. Okay, so those of you who've been in long-term relationships have been dealing with a lot of challenges and sort of felt like the thrill was gone. I feel like you're going to find that passion again. These are the fires getting stoked. This is really good. Huge healing process you're going through here. Really beautiful, okay? Really beautiful. Some of you might be deciding to have separate residences. Like you feel like you need your own space. Ooh. Interesting. This landed on the ground, okay? Light. And there's like these 3 candles here, 3 of fire. It's in reverse. This got thrown away. So I feel like the time of darkness is on its way out. It could be that there was a third element in your situation that was causing disruption in this connection. There's something that was operating in this connection that was causing problems, maybe was a source of arguments, and this is being balanced out. And I like this. It's sort of saying dream big here because there's a fantasy that's becoming reality here. So there's some kind of dream you have that's going to get hatched. You're definitely coming into alignment with your destiny here. And I feel like this is something really inspired that comes through for you. It's something that develops as you move throughout the year. Yes, get grounded out here, okay? Because we do have sky, tree, all right? So you do need grounding because I feel like you're about to head on a bit of a whirlwind adventure here where fantasy becomes reality. Your need to be grounded is going to be very strong in this situation. I also feel like this has everything to do with a soulmate. We got Joker of Earth, telephone. So you're going to get an important message in regard to this. All right. There's something here that sets off this adventure. Somebody you hear from, you're not expecting to hear from them, or some kind of news comes in and it changes everything. It makes something that you fantasized about, a dream you've had, a reality. This is the activation of your destiny. I love this. Okay, cut of the deck. I'm happy for you, dear. This looks so good. Queen of Earth, treasure. How beautiful is this? And 1 of water, sprout. So I love that the seed imagery is coming through here. This is so cool. So whatever this wish is, okay, so you have some wish. You already know what this is. This is like, this wish is being activated now. Like you're wishing for this. This is your birthday wish. Whatever you plant here, it's coming to bloom, okay? Something's growing here. You're going to have this new beginning you want. And where you were hoping to find that sunken treasure, you're actually activating this. Like, I feel like you're rooting this dream in material reality. There's a refinement process that's happened here. This is giving me vibes of like a diamond, a diamond becomes that, through heat and pressure, and there's been a lot of fire and transformation in this situation. But what you unearth here, what grows from this, it's something lasting. It's something beautiful. And you got a little treasure here coming to bloom. And I love this. We got 7 of Fire wheels. So I feel like things are going to get moving here. This is you activating your destiny. I feel like there's some hand of fate you're transforming here, and everything's about to change. Again, that wheel energy makes me think of Sagittarius. So I do feel like you're moving into greater expansion. There's travel on deck. There's travel of the mind. There's actual travel. I think you're expanding your network, and some of you will be moving. Okay, some of you will be embracing more of an unconventional type of relationship, but it's the very thing that sort of like fuels the passion in your relationship again. There's a very important relationship being renewed here, and it's because it passed the fire test of truth. And important news coming in that makes a fantasy reality. But you need to be grounded for this, man, because it's going to rock you, man. Yeah, you need to be grounded for this with Earth Mountain here. And it does require you to embrace a different perspective. So I do see where you saw things one way, you are expanding your view. You got a different perspective of a situation, and it looks beautiful. I mean, how can you, how can you resist this? This looks just so beautiful and wonderful. And I see you really stepping into your power. And it's your ability to let go and soften and be in your soft, gentle heart that allows this to happen. So I love that somebody on the other side of that table is recognizing what a power that is. And I think they see you as their saving grace at the end of the day. So congratulations. Way to work your medicine. And I do think you have something to be proud of. And there's nothing wrong with having a healthy sense of pride. So do tap into that elk medicine. I encourage you to really research elk medicine. I think it'll support you as you go through these dynamic changes. But what you pull together here is a little bit of heaven on earth. And it comes through diving into those emotions, diving into that sensitivity, trusting your innate sensitivity, your intuition. You're not going to falter here. All right. You may go through some intense trials here, but what you get on the other side makes it so worth it. Blessings.